Welcome to Resident Evil 4's Separate Ways DLC, which lets you take control of Ada Wong, making our way through her story and just how exactly she got mixed up with Leon's mission. Now, with the DLC not actually having a platinum trophy, it still had 7 challenging trophies that were the final part I had left to do to fully complete Resident Evil 4's remake. So, Leon, it's time for you to step aside. Ada's got her own agenda as we jump straight into Separate Ways platinum playthrough. The game starts off with our favourite Spanish scientist, locked behind bars so he is brushing up on his dance moves since he has some time to kill. Not before some unwelcome guests arrive to spoil the party. Everything's fine though, since a disguised Ada takes them out without breaking a sweat. Wanting one thing only, that being the amber, Luis says that he hid it somewhere before being captured. So, as the two attempt to escape the castle, one of Ramon's bodyguards shows up. But this isn't Verdugo, this is the other black robe, Placenta. Agreeing to meet up at the church, Luis escapes as Ada does what she does best. I forget how much of a badass Ada is. Oh. Now, Placenta doesn't give up that easy, so she does manage to harm her as the two of them square up for their first fight. Now, after not playing RE4 for about 6 months, I was a little bit rusty with the controls, but it didn't take much to defeat her as she disintegrates away. Ada leaves the audience chamber and receives a call from her employer, the man himself, Wesker. As we know him from the main game, she's been put out on a mission to retrieve the amber for him. Now, just like Leon, the movement and combat are mostly the same, apart from the fact that she does have a grapple, making it a lot easier to traverse the walls. Personally, I think DLCs need an extra mechanic like this, just so that it still feels like a unique experience compared to the main game. So then as Ada scales the final wall, she looks back to see if Placenta is in fact still alive. Now, recognizing some places like the villa and then the bridge connecting it to the farmyard, this DLC contains quite a few of the same locations from the main game. This is also going on whilst Leon is making his way through his story, which I quite liked. You know, all the events that involved Ada in the main story, you now get to see how she ended up in those scenarios, filling in some of the blanks that may have been missing. Making it to the church, Luis is nowhere to be seen, so Wesker calls again to say that his signal was lost somewhere near Mendez's house. But before we go and find out what happened, we gotta pay a visit to this friendly stranger. With a shop full of useful items, I make sure I stock up on as much as I can, since it's now time for round 2 with Placenta. The fight is pretty much the same as we breeze past her, but unable to finish her off as it seems like something is up with Ada, since she misses the last shot.
What is wrong with me?
Arriving at Mendez's house, we manage to get there just in time to save Leon. Then as Ada manages to lose Mendez as he leaves too. This gives her a chance to search the house as she finds some evidence as to the whereabouts of where Luis may have been taken to. Yeah, maybe it looks like we didn't lose him. Don't worry though, since we can easily outrun him and get away to safety. Discovering the aftermath of Leon and Luis's escape, she finds this box of cigarettes with a frequency code on the back. Getting hold of Luis, he is on his way to the villa himself along with Leon and Ashley, so we gotta do some backtracking. Oh, that went well. Second time around, we make it out, but not before Ada falls unconscious, luckily waking up back at the house with the presence of Wesker. So to make this short, Ada basically got infected by Placenta during that first fight, a bit like how Leon was infected. So I guess until we find some sort of a cure, this infection is going to cause us some problems. Returning to the villa, as we see the horde of Plaga infesting the building, as much as I would love to help the lads, there is a much bigger issue. Surely after killing 3 in the main game, we shouldn't have any problems, right? Now, the thing that gives Ada the advantage though is that she can grapple onto the various buildings around, managing to stay out of the reach of the El Gigante, also making it a lot easier to shoot the Plaga on his back, then in the end killing him and then popping the Giant Slayer trophy. There we go, our first trophy as well, Giant Slayer. Finally able to meet up with Luis again. Annoyingly for Ada, he doesn't have the amber on him at the current time. Looks like it's another trip back to the castle, but Luis has another task that he needs to fulfill, that curing both Leon and Ashley. He does notice the same symptoms in Ada as well, so he makes a deal with her to retrieve both the amber and medicine. With the location of his lab not too far away, they begin their hot pursuit to get there. Speaking of hot, looks like they're a little bit too late as his lab is engulfed in flames, but Luis doesn't care as he runs straight into the blaze. Now, with his love for cigarettes, he ain't gonna last long with the fumes, so Ada runs in after to save him. With his research burned to ashes, they make it out unharmed, which absolutely destroys Luis. But with some motivational words from Ada, he tells her that the ingredients are somewhere in the castle. So he agrees to go grab the amber for her as she sets out to find these 3 ingredients needed for the medicine. We come across the first ingredient, the red ink, fairly easily, before bumping into Leon as we saw from the main story. Then for the second ingredient, it's kept away amongst all of these armadura that just want to practice their fencing skills with us, especially in a very great small confined room. To top it off, being shot by these plaga make this part insufferable. After my second attempt, I do manage to make it out alive with the gold bottle. So now I can make my way to the third and final ingredient, that being the blue butterfly. A much easier puzzle to solve without any unwanted company. So now with all three, we regroup with Luis so we can start making the medicine. And good thing is, looks like he does actually have the amber on him at this time. I feel like there's going to be some sort of a catch. Nope, no catch at all. He creates the medicine and injects it into Ada, which does actually appear to cure her for the time being. Maybe I spoke too soon about there being a catch, since placenta is close by, almost like that she knows that the parasite inside of Ada is being kept at bay. Not wanting to risk the amber, Ada tells Luis to take it and run before anything happens to it. Since the parasite is now sedated, that was placenta's only way of keeping track of Ada's whereabouts. So unable to spot her, she leaves Ada alone. Now at least we have some time to breathe. Now it's time for the next section, which honestly was not my favorite place to be in, since it was full of these visitors. And you all know how I feel about massive flying bugs. Ugh. Then to make things even worse, I've got this Gyarados to deal with as well. Luckily there's only one though. Now with him being quickly killed, we find our way above the blast furnace, and hoping that we don't run into any more El Gigantes ourselves, we get confronted by placenta once more. Well, I guess with the parasite not affecting Ada anymore, we can actually have a fair one-on-one fight. This time though with a fully mutated placenta. So that's what was hiding under that robe. Definitely a much scarier looking boss compared to Verdugo though. With this boss having both close and long ranged attacks, this fight was actually a fun one, since it forced me to mix up my fighting style whilst having to dodge any close range attacks that she does. But weirdly, it was a very quick boss fight and no trophy popped for killing her either. I guess I'll take this barrette and go on then. Game, you sneaky bitch, making me think I got off that easily. Now only having to face the tail end of her, I had to be quick on my toes if I were to dodge her attacks. Also adding the Visitadors to this fight. After managing to stun her, I was able to grapple onto her, plunging my knife deep and killing her, which popped the trophy It Kept You Busy. Oh, we got it, nice. We got It Kept You Busy. Now with that trophy pop, I definitely know that there isn't going to be a phase 3. Making our way out of the nest, Luis catches us on our radio, but at this point, him and Leon are being confronted by Krauser, so you all know what's going to happen to him. And unfortunately, there's no time to say our goodbyes as Krauser is escaping, so we head towards the clock tower to chase him down. Hey, good thing we have this grapple though, means we don't have to deal with that stupid elevator from the main game. Instead, I've got these slamming rocks that I came very close to becoming a sandwich, that of the Jill kind. We reach the top of the castle-like structure as we see the confrontation between Leon and Ramon. So knowing that he can stand up for himself, we leave the two to sort out their differences. We only just miss Krauser as he speeds off towards the island, but Leon is also close by. Wow, that fight was quick. Must have had a spare egg in his pocket. The two of them follow Krauser's tail, but since Ada has her own business to deal with, she thanks Leon for the ride and grapples away. She manages to spot Krauser giving the amber to Sadler, but she chooses not to take the shot since Wesker has shown up again. Why is that? Well, there has been a change of plans. Wesker hands her this briefcase with the contents of it unknown and agrees to the job, as long as that comes with a raise in pay. Now, of course, if you remember this part from the main game, Ada also gets to have fun with the regenerators, including the spiked one, which doesn't help when my aim is this trash. Then after surviving this gondola sequence, did the game really want to chuck any more ranged plagas at me? We come to this BS section with turrets and a whole bunch more plaga. But with the amazing help from you guys, you told me that I can actually make this area much easier by taking out the turrets with this crossbow, meaning you never actually have to deal with them. Okay, maybe I cheese my way through this, but trust me, I get my karma in my Pro S Plus run. Now making our way into a completely separate lab, it seems rather deserted. All that's left is a lot of rubble and debris, plus a few bodies laying around, as if something else is roaming around here. Now, I don't even know how to explain who or what this abomination is. All I know is I ain't sticking around to find out. After a quick chase scene, we narrowly grapple away from the grasp with this thing, which we then end up in this control room, managing to connect the device that Wesker gave us earlier. Turns out that he actually plans on blowing up the entire island, including us, Leon, and Ashley. So, not caring what the consequences may be of killing the president's daughter, Wesker now demands the amber, which flips the switch for Ada, meaning she's now playing by her rules. With time not on our side, we gotta get out fast, which helps since this monstrosity is still not letting us escape unharmed. Not to worry though, Ada has trained for situations like this, and she smoothly slips her way through all these security lasers, but unlucky for the creature since he ain't as agile as she is. Oh, is she making through? Oh, of course she is. Oh! Ooh, Making our way back to the main island, we managed to stop off at the merchant, making some purchases and some well-needed upgrades as we end up witnessing the events in the throne room, seeing Sadler activate the parasites inside of Leon and Ashley. As we know, unable to resist it, the two are saved by Ada as they both manage to make it out alive. Now, with a super pissed off Sadler, it's our job to try and put a stop to him. Not as powerful as his next mutated form, and with plenty of rifle shots to his eye head, yeah, still don't know how that works, we managed to get the trophy had enough of preachers for defeating him. But we all know that isn't the last time that we see of him, as Ada makes a call to Wesker confirming the amber pickup, before then being jumped by Sadler. Now, technically that was the final boss fight, since it's Leon's job to fight him next, meaning that Ada manages to spot the red RPG that gets used later on. So we now have to deal with a gauntlet of enemies thrown in our way, doing their best to protect Sadler. But as always, we know nothing's going to stop Ada. Reaching the red RPG and picking it up, we do bump into Leon's knight in shining armor, as she pleads for us to help him. Don't worry, Ashley, we're already on it. With Leon fighting for his life, Ada throws him the RPG and, well, you know what happens next. We get the exact same ending as the main game, where we see Leon escaping the island with Ashley, and then Ada leaves with the amber. But as we know, she turns on Wesker and goes against his demands. This ends the DLC, as I get both the capable operative and skilled agent trophies for completing the game both on standard and hardcore difficulty. We do get a bonus ending scene though, as we see Wesker spot Ada's betrayal, as most of the island remains intact, but Wesker isn't going to let that phase him, since he still has the body of Krauser, meaning some of the Plaga parasite is definitely making it off that island. So that leads into Resident Evil 5 is my guess. Now, for a first, it was actually nice not having to worry about any collectibles or missable trophies, although I did still have 2 to get. But luckily for me, they were both attainable in just 1 step, simply by completing the game again with an S+ rating on professional difficulty in 10 saves or less. Now, this challenge did seem inferior to the main game's S+ challenge, so that's definitely made me a lot more confident with it, but there were some slight bumps along the way. Now, for my first few attempts, I didn't really get that far at all, since most of the time I was just being two-shotted by any enemy that I came into contact with. It's almost like Ada was just made of glass or something. Alright, bro just one-shotted me with a bloody spade. Then as I got further into the run, which was looking like the run I wanted, I just lost the ability to play. I kept dying to the same shit over and over again. With the time counting down, I was really pushing my luck with all these deaths, including the part where I killed Passanta for the 2nd time. And because I was focusing on so much on managing my saves, I chose not to save after the fight, and that worked out brilliant for me. What an idiot. Luckily, the very last chapter was one of the shortest and easiest to get through, so maybe I could redeem myself and make up for all that lost time. I'm 10 minutes over. So yeah, if I hadn't have had to redo Passanta's boss fight, that time saved would have got me the trophy pretty much on my first proper attempt. However, it wasn't a complete waste of time, as I still got the perfect mission trophy for completing the game on professional, so that's a win in my books. With a couple days of well-needed rest and recovery, I loaded up another playthrough and this time made absolutely sure that I wasn't going to be making any more silly mistakes. Of course, the run wasn't 100% perfect because, you know, as I said, I'm an idiot, but making it through the entire game again and sprinting through the final chapter towards the finish line, I did manage to do it with 7 minutes to spare, finally unlocking the trophy Ada the S+ Spy, fully completing all of the trophies that Resident Evil 4 remakes had to offer. Second attempt, there we go. Ada the S+ Spy. Now, if you did enjoy this kind of mini shorter platinum playthrough, then let me know what you thought of it, because if you guys like it, I'd love to do more like these in the future. Now, if you wanted to watch the entirety of this platinum playthrough, then the playlist is down in the description below for you. So in the terms of what the next Resident Evil game will be that I'll cover, I think I'm more leaning towards playing Resident Evil 0. Seeming as I've already played 1 to 4, I should really cover 0. But as always, let me know what you guys think. If you did enjoy the video, make sure you do like it, comment down below what was your favorite part, and of course subscribe to the channel. The support has been amazing during the first 3 months of this year, and I just can't thank you guys enough, so thank you all so much. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next platinum playthrough.